Hi, I'm Felecia, and God didn't want me to have children.
Two friends from an island in the Caribbean set out on a journey to find inspiring stories told by the persons who live them.
So with a camera bag and an open mind, they learned that the best part of life is not the destination, but
The journey.
One of the things that I had to deal with was how people treated me. I remember friends saying, "Oh, just get over it, Fel," Or I remember adults, asking me, "When are you going to have children again?" Just very insensitive interactions with people. And so that was kind of rough. But if you know me, you'll know that it is time to move on. And when I got to the point of moving on, I said to my husband, let's try again. He said to me, I remember so clearly that he said to me that if you do not want to have children, it's okay. But it wasn't okay for me. He was fine. But it wasn't okay for me. I wanted to have children. And so we decided to try again. And the journey to try again was very interesting because it became very clinical, because just, making love to your spouse and it's supposed to be something that you look forward to and you enjoy. It wasn't that. It was very clinical. And it was like, you're ovulating now. Let's get it. Let's go have sex now. How? That was very interesting too. I mean, I was on a mission to stay pregnant. And so whenever, we had intercourse, it was about putting your legs up and making sure everything drained all the way down and you don't move for like 30 minutes or you don't bathe. And I started to incorporate all these things that when you look up on the internet, that's what they said you should do. It was crazy. It was crazy. Getting pregnant again was hard. One of the biggest decisions we made was financial. We decided that we were not going to go through the health system here on the island again. Couldn't manage it. So we decided to purchase an American health insurance. And it wasn't just American anywhere. If I decided to go to Europe, I could have gone with it. So we took out an American health insurance so that we'll be able to pay for care when it was time. So got pregnant here for sure. Got a new job. Well, by this time I would have been in my now job for maybe a year, I was like, yes. So we're paying this very expensive outside of our pocket insurance for about 8 months, and I did not get pregnant yet. And we continued paying it. We started on the fertility medication again. This time I remember almost taking 16 pills in one day. And I was at work one day and, I don't know if it was something in the water, but like people were just getting pregnant left, right, and center. Just like, I'm over this though, And I called my doctor. I had changed my doctor. I met this really amazing doctor that, made me feel like, hey, we're going to do it together. I called him and I said, Doc, how much longer? There's just so much people around me that's pregnant. And I remember I started to cry on the phone, and it was the first time I interacted with a healthcare person that cared. I went to him. Somebody told me about him. A friend of mine told me about him. And I went to him and I told him my story. And I sat in the chair telling him my story. He made 2 angels out of paper. Origami is what he called it, or what it is called. 2 angels for me, representing the babies I lost. And he said that we're going to work together. I'm going to do everything a doctor can do to help you to get pregnant and to stay pregnant. And I trusted him. And so when I eventually got pregnant, he rejoiced, I rejoiced, and it was just great to be pregnant again. But again, I was scared because I'm thinking back on everything that I went through. We kept it a secret for a very long time. And the first time the doctor told me what I was having, I remember I was on the bed, and he turned on disco music. And once I said that, you guys are going to know exactly which doctor it is, right? For those of you who know him well. And I remember the disco ball was going in, and he was doing the ultrasound, and he goes, "Well, I see owl eyes." I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, what does that mean? And I looked over on the little screen, and there were 2 little sacks. 2 sacks. And he said, "You're having twins again." For me, that was amazing because I felt like God was giving me back what I lost. But it was a rough pregnancy. It was hard. I was sick. I had gestational diabetes. I was in the hospital a lot. I had to, be in and out of hospital. I remember I called a friend in the States because remember I said my intention was to go away, but I can't leave my job. I still have to, eat and pay my bills, and so I couldn't. So I had a plan. My plan was to wait until later on in the pregnancy and then go away, and hopefully, bundle all my vacation and maternity leave and everything in one time so I could go away, And I was thinking maybe at my 8th month or my 7th month, the end of my 7th month, I called a girlfriend when I started to get really sick at month 6 again. And I called a girlfriend, and she lives in the States, and I said, "Hey, can you make any recommendations at all for a doctor I can talk to?" She said, "You know what? I am with another girlfriend right now, just all by coincidence, right? That had a really bad pregnancy and needed a specialized doctor. So let me give you her doctor and my doctor." So I said, "Thanks." So she sent me the information. I reached out to my friend's doctor, and he said, "I can't manage high-risk pregnancies." I said, "Okay." So I remember one night, maybe a day after I reached out to that doctor, I reached out to the other doctor. I sent him a really long email, 11 o'clock one night, and just kind of documented my journey and everything. I kid you not. I may have sent the email off at 11:30. He responded to me at 11:45 p.m. He said, "Thank you, and this is what you need to do." I said, "Oh, wow. Okay, no problem." And he said, "You need to see me immediately based on your circumstances." No doctor really here was treating it with that kind of urgency. No, nobody was like, "You need to deal with this now." My situation in Jamaica got so bad that my private doctor at this time said, "I think you need to register at UWI because if anything happened, I want you to be ready and able to be taken care of." What that means is that I had to start seeing another doctor at UWI. So when I met the new doctor at UWI, and I said, he's a seasoned doctor. And I said to him, this is my situation, and would I be able to do this specific treatment? And that's a treatment that the doctor in the States had recommended. He literally brushed me off and said, no, you don't need that. And I felt like nothing was being done differently to keep me pregnant. So I decided in that moment that, you know what? I need to get my butt to the States for real. That day, the doctor's office called me. I was in a meeting and the doctor's office called me, and she said, the lady on the other line said to me, I need to make you an appointment. Your situation is urgent. They have not even seen me yet. All they had was an email of my situation. And then they asked me to send all the documentation from my doctor's office, which that's all they had. So I set an appointment without even buying a plane ticket or talking to my supervisor yet. So I set up a meeting to see my supervisor, and when I walked into the room, I said, I have to go away to get care. And I remember I was really emotional in the moment, and she said to me, okay, this is what you're going to do. When you go away, don't come back until you have those babies. And I'm talking about it now, but it's really just being at this company that I was at was all divinely orchestrated. And I say to people all the time that I am here to have my children. I know it's years later and I'm still at the company, but I believe I was here to have my children. She said, when you go, don't come back until you have those children, and we will work it out. That same day, the HR person from HR called me, and literally I had to say nothing. I said nothing. She just worked out everything. This is how long you're gonna be. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna work from home between this time and this time. Then you're gonna have this, and then you're gonna have that, and I said, well, should I put my vacation in it from the following year? No, because you're gonna need that time when the children need to go to the doctor. And there was so much compassion, and that was like fuel for me. I got on a plane. 2 days later, made it to the doctor's office. My entire experience with that doctor's office was incredible. The moment I got in and the love care that I received from every single person in that office was mind-blowing. And I remember when I went into the doctor's, they put you in a waiting room, and you wait in that room for the doctor to come to you. When the doctor came in through the door, he was just like effervescent, He was just full of life and possibilities. And he's like, hi, Felecia, how are you? The Lord told me you're going to have these babies. Now, we're talking about the United States of America. People do not put forward their faith in that way to a complete stranger, unless you know. And that was confirmation for me that this journey was going to end well. He said, we're going to make this happen, and you're going to be cared for, and these are the things that you need to do. And his instructions were very, very pointed and very clear, and I could ask any questions. I could explain my doubts, and he would clear them up. We left the doctor's office. We walked, Dave and I, we were there together. And when we left the doctor's office and walked to our cars, we walked to our cars in complete silence. Because I felt like we were shocked. We got into the car. He sat in the driver's side and I sat on the passenger side. We pulled in the door. And I think we sat in that empty parking lot for 5 minutes without saying anything to each other. At the end of that 5 minutes, he turned to me and said, what just happened? Because I felt like we were imposters. I felt like we got treated so awesomely and we didn't know why. But it was just all God's grace. But we stayed there for a little while. A friend, my father's really good friend, loaned us a little old jalopy car. And that is what took us around, to the doctor's office, to the supermarket, to wherever we needed to go. And so I had to make such a great adjustment to this new living situation. I had to depend on people a lot. I had to I wasn't as free to move around as I wanted to and do the things that I wanted to do. And then my husband wasn't around either. He had to be in Jamaica. And so I felt alone most times. Doctor's visits on my own, was not nice. So when my mother came, it was really great to have the extra help. So one day we went for one of our now weekly visits to the doctor. And he said, I remember it was going to be Halloween weekend, right, in the States. And he says, you are going to have baby over the weekend if we don't have our scheduled C-section. Now, it wasn't based on the fact that I'm a high-risk pregnant person. He said, we have to schedule a C-section. So he said, it's going to be a holiday weekend. We're taking these babies today. I remember it was a Friday. I remember the appointment was 9:00 in the morning. And I also clearly remember that my husband left one day earlier. He left on Wednesday to come back to Jamaica after one of his short visits. So I go, what? Can we wait until tomorrow? He goes, I will not be here tomorrow. And if you wait until tomorrow, you will go into labor fully. He says, you're already 1 centimeter dilated and you're moving fast. I said, okay. So go home, do all the things that you need to do and meet me at the hospital in 1 hour. 1 hour? How do I stall this doctor today so I could get my husband here? So I called Dave. I said, Dave, can you come? I'm going into delivery right now. He goes, what? Yeah. So he had to go and find a ticket. Missed the morning flight by 30 minutes because of when he had to buy the ticket. So he had to come in on the afternoon flight. I was prepped. I tried to stall, but the doctor's office pretty much called me and said, where the heck are you, Mrs. Williams? You need to be here now. So we got to the hospital. We did all our prep work and my mother was there. My mother was there and that's memorable for me because she was there to help me. And so I did my scheduled C-section and she got to cut the umbilical cord, which is memorable for her. She'll never forget it. But my husband wasn't there. And I remember that because he was always there in the times before. He was always present. He was in the rough times. He was just always there. I always remember that he was my anchor and I could depend on him to be there, even though he may not be as vocal as I am with my emotions, but he was always there. I remember after delivering the babies via C-section, and I don't remember the times because I was sedated heavily. So I don't remember what happened in between. But I remember they were pushing me out. They had taken the babies already. I saw the babies. They cried. They were real. They were born. A boy and a girl. They were born. And I saw them. And that was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me, even up until now. That experience. All right, so after delivering the baby and the doctors and my mother pushing me out of the delivery room I remember we were into this passageway, like a corridor. And I could see down the bottom of that corridor Dave running towards me with his bags and everything. And I remember when he got to me, he goes, "You okay, baby?" I'm like, "Yeah, baby, we did it. Noah and Jordan, they're here. Noah and Jordan is here. Our babies are here." And in that moment, I think we shared a connection of partnership, a connection of togetherness. I mean, he is my rock and he is my full stop. He made this journey possible, yes, but he made this journey bearable. And he was so connected. And so even though he was not in the delivery room with me, just seeing him at the end of it, I couldn't ask for more, to be honest. I couldn't ask for more. I remember my mother-in-law saying to me on the telephone, she said to me that this is a miracle, yes, but the miracle will be in your everyday life. And let me tell you how she's never said a truer thing, if that's a real word. Because as I see my children growing up and getting their own legs and their own voices and their own little personalities and their own opinions about things, those things are the miracles for me right now every single day. The day was a blur after that. But now my children are 8 years old, going on 9, and enjoying them every day is amazing. I don't get it right as a parent all the time, but I reflect on the journey to get there. And it was hard, but it was worth it. So I celebrate all the children that I had the privilege to bear, from my first child, who I called Skylar, to my second children, Leah and Annalise, to my third children, right? Noah and Jordan, who is alive. And we talk about past children. And I explain to them who they are and the journey mommy went through, not to scare them, but to educate them so that they can see they're a part of something really big and strong. And we call ourselves William Strong. And I want them to see what makes mommy strong and what makes daddy strong. You know, yeah, you may have pain, but there's always another side. There's always another side. So, this is a journey that I'll continue to enjoy. I don't plan to have any other children. This is it. This is it. Full stop. Unless God is going to do something miraculous, this is it. But I enjoy my family very much, and I love them to pieces. I am Felecia, and God gave me 5 beautiful children.
My name is Patrice J. White, and I'm trying to run away from myself.